It might be a cold January night, but I am ready to do garden planning, and I hope you are too. So this has kind of been looming over me. I know I need to start gardening. I want to make my to-do list. I'm getting seed catalogs in the mail. I'm seeing everyone post about it online, but I just need to sit down and take the time to plan. Personally, I work better off of a to-do list, and when there's a community of people around me doing the same thing and holding me accountable. So I hope we can do this together. I have made a tool for us to use, kind of just a very simple planner. I find sometimes when I buy planners, they are way too detailed. It makes me feel confined or I'm not doing enough. So there's one thing we all have in common, and that is we're planting a garden. We need to be getting plants in the ground. So this planner is going to be centered in what we want to plant, things that will be useful to us, and when we need to plant them. I know this is only year 2 of gardening for me, and last year it was fly by the seat of my pants. I did not plant a garden until June, and it was kind of all over the place. I put things in the ground, I saw what worked, I saw what didn't. So I want to be a bit more detail oriented this year. Okay, so here we are with the planner. You can see that there's 3 different sheets on it. How to use, Brainstorm, and Planner. So we'll go over how to use really quickly, and the link to this will be in the description. You're going to be able to take this and make it custom to yourself in your growing zone. So our 2023 garden planner, so we can grow, harvest, and preserve together. I am so excited. So you'll follow the instructions on the how to use page. I do recommend using this on a computer rather than mobile, at least while you're filling it out, but it can be done on mobile. There's just some nuances. So to get started, we're going to go to File and then make a copy. And I'm going to call this just Hannah 2023 Planner. It doesn't matter, you can name it whatever you'd like. We're going to make a copy. All right, we'll wait for it to load, and now we can get started with our own copy. So first, and this is a very key step, we're going to determine what our frost date is and enter it here. So there's a website, you might know your frost date already. So all you have to do is enter your zip code here. And it tells me that my last spring frost is May 3rd. So this date is what you're looking for. Let's go back to our planner. So that May 3rd date, I'm going to double click here in the green, and then on the calendar, find this May 3rd date. Okay, next what we're going to do is go to the Brainstorm page, number 2. So here we are. We are going to do some brainstorming. This is a great exercise to do with your family, and take some time doing this. This isn't going to be something that we sit down and do in 5 minutes, but foods I like to eat fresh. Those are things that you'll plant and eat fresh over the summer or the growing season. Foods I like to eat frozen, things that you like to keep in the freezer, can use year round. Foods that you want to can, and then herbs that you like to use. That's something that I really neglected this past year, are herbs, and I do have a green stalk. I got it kind of late in the growing season, but I'm hoping to use that to capitalize on growing herbs. So foods I like to eat fresh. I definitely like tomato, zucchini, lettuce, kale, cucumber, bell pepper, banana pepper, carrot, beets. Let me think on this. Okay, so we came up with a pretty extensive list here based on things we grew last year, things we wish we would have grown. I'm sure this list will continue to grow, and I'll continue to share this with you as we kind of go through the growing season. But we have our staples here for things that we like to eat fresh throughout the summer. I thought, since last summer was my first time having a garden, it was truly amazing to me to be able to go out to the garden and pick out what I wanted for dinner and have it. So I want to be doing more of that. No grocery shopping for produce over the summer is the goal. Now next, things I like to eat from frozen, which I think is really applicable for right now. There's definitely some things I wish that we had froze that we didn't. One of those being green beans. I just had to buy 5 pounds of green beans, and I think that's something I could grow myself. I do like bell peppers frozen. We've definitely used those a lot. Corn, zucchini. I did shred some zucchini and froze it, and I think that is definitely something we'd want to do again. I'm gonna have to, maybe some Google searching will help me. Garden vegetables to freeze. Broccoli. I didn't grow anything from the name of the type of vegetable, like the broccoli and the cauliflower, the name of that family of vegetables is escaping me. But I didn't grow any of them. I tried to grow cabbage, did not go well. I think I tried to grow cabbage, start cabbage a couple of times. So we'll put broccoli on there. Oh, spinach and kale. We would definitely use that over the winter. I know a lot of people do peas. I've never grown peas, but it really seems like a lot of effort getting peas out, so I don't think I'm interested in doing that. Okay, I think that's good. Next up, I might be most excited about this category, but foods I want to can. So I have 2 handy books here, Ball Book of Preserving, as well as a fermented vegetables. Fermented vegetables cookbook that looks like it has a fermented vegetable scrap stuck to the front of it. So I'm gonna look through these and kind of inventory what we have in our pantry. The big one for me is tomato sauce. Last year I canned tomato sauce and I didn't put any seasoning in it, and I'm pretty sure that's how I want to do it again. That way I can use it in soups, in sauces, really anything. The options are endless. Our favorite was the cowboy candy barbecue. So good. We'll definitely be out of that. Now there's a couple of things like peach salsa and fruit jams. I won't have those here on my property, so maybe I'll just italicize them. I'll italicize them so I know that they won't go into my garden planning formally. Another thing about this garden planner, it is only for current season crops. So any crop that comes back year after year, like asparagus or something you have to plant in the fall, like garlic, those dates won't be included in here. That's something that you can kind of explore on your own. This is just for typical growing season crops. We like canned banana peppers. Yeah, so I guess to make the cowboy candy barbecue, you need cowboy candy, so we'll put that in there. I really liked banana peppers. I want to grow dill, so I guess I'll put that in herbs I like to use, because I want to make more dill, like beans, more kind of just like pickled vegetables to use as a snack. Honestly, I really like cucumbers. For some reason, I haven't been eating a lot of our cucumbers, so we'll have to see where we are on that. Okay, let me dig into my book here. Oh, salsa. I did not can salsa last year, and Tabasco sauce. Oh, this looks so good. Something I never considered making myself, but 3-bean salad. I love it. I buy it in the big jars at Sam's Club. So good. Oh, pickled beets. Becky at Acre Homestead makes an enchilada sauce that I think I want to make. I made enchilada sauce for the first time last week during the pantry challenge. So good. Ketchup. I want to try ketchup. People make like an onion jam that I think would be good. Oh, have to grow tomatillos. My uncle is always telling me that. Let me add that to the list. I don't even know if that's how you spell it. Maybe some relish. I'll have to see if we're going to be out of it or not. I definitely want to make something rhubarb. I'll put some asterisks. I don't have rhubarb here. I want to get some planted. I grew up with rhubarb in my backyard, and so did my grandma, so it's kind of like a nostalgic thing. I love rhubarb. Now, fermented. I definitely want sauerkraut. My sauerkraut this year, major fail, and I did it to myself in like the last week. I just, messed with it. I let perfect be the enemy of good, and that's never a good sign. So, just a side note, the craziest thing to me in this book, and I've seen this before, a recipe for sauerkraut coconut macaroons. Now, I'm pretty adventurous. There's not too much I don't like, but I can't imagine liking these. I mean, I don't know if you can see that picture or not, but that might be something we have to try here on the channel, because that just looks off. If anyone's ever tried them before, let me know. There's an onion relish in here that looks good. Next up is herbs I like to use, and something I use a lot that I don't think counts as an herb, But I want to make onion powder. I guess this is spices I like to use. Foods I like to eat frozen, kind of all over the place here. But I loved the onion top pesto we made, so I'm gonna add that to the list. Garlic powder. Now, I want to know what all goes in Italian seasoning. Ooh, sage. I love sage. Italian seasoning is a blend of some ground herbs that include, let's do basil, oregano, rosemary, thyme, sage, or coriander. I've seen people do really cool things and grow things to make their own tea, which is awesome. I don't think that's going to be a 2023 goal of mine, but maybe next year. What other kind of spices horseradish? Does that count as a spice? Horseradish? I think that's something that comes back year over year. Ginger, I'm not even sure if you can grow ginger here. Okay. So obviously this list isn't going to be conclusive after 10 or 15 minutes of sitting here going through this. This is going to be something we work through, a work in progress. But some other things to consider here as you're going through the list. I was kind of just going based on my memory and things that I would like to have right now in the dead of winter. But think about what grows well in your growing zone, what's native to your area, what store-bought items do you want to replace? What are those things that you always find yourself buying that you would appreciate homegrown better? Do you have any storage restrictions? For instance, in your freezer, if you know you don't have a lot of freezer space and can't free up that space, focus on things that you will like to can. And vice versa. Maybe you don't have a lot of shelf space, but you're rich in freezer space. I don't know how many people have that problem, but maybe you do, and it's something to consider. And then finally, how much planting space do you have? There are some things that sprawl, pumpkins, watermelons. I did not put watermelons on my list. Last year, I got the most baby watermelons. They were good, but they were tiny. I'm not sure if it was the variety I grew. So, things to consider. There's a lot, it's a balance, and maybe you're not going to plant everything on your list, but this is a good place to kind of start and prioritize things. So we went through step 3 here, going to the Brainstorm sheet, spend a good amount of time on this step to make sure what you grow is specific to you and your family. Again, make this a running list. That's certainly what I'm going to do, and I'll report back to all of you as I make additions or remove things. The last step is navigate to the 3rd sheet, Planner, by selecting this tab below. So in the crop column, we're going to select the crop that we want to plant, and then it will populate if we need to start the seeds and when to get them in the ground. So let's get started. Here we are, the Garden Planner tab. So again, we're going to select what crop we want to grow. The planting type, the seed start date, and the plant date will auto-populate. And then these columns, varieties I'm planting, and notes, those are free text fields and absolutely for you to fill out. Make them specific to yourself, jot down any notes you would like. And honestly, other than these first 4 columns that kind of auto-populate once you select crop, make this your own. Add columns. Do whatever you'd like. Add a whole sheet on here. Maybe if you want to start a list of what you need to go buy, make it your own. But I just wanted the least common denominator here is that we all want to plant something. So that is what this planter is centered around. All right, so let's see here. The first thing I have on my list in the planner is tomato. So I am going to select tomato. Now, what you do is you select this down arrow and you can either find it in the list or start typing and it'll auto-populate. So the planting type, this will either be direct sow or seed start. So direct sow means you plant the seed directly in the ground. A seed start means it should be started indoors prior to that. So tomato, the planting type is a seed start date, and the next 2 dates that come up are custom to my last frost date. So I should start my seed inside around the end of March and get it in the ground a couple weeks after my last frost, which is May 17th. Now, there are variables here. What you read on your seed packet might be a little bit different, but these are generics and just best guidelines. we don't all rush out and plant on the last frost date. And the last frost date is really a guesstimate. It's statistics and probability based on years past. So again, this is a guideline. You don't have to follow them to a T, but I think chronologically, it will give us a good checklist of when we need to start seeds and when we need to get them in the ground. So in this seed start date, again, that's the date I should start my seeds. We'll pull up another one. If it is a direct sow, there'll just be an NA in that field. And know that any seed started plant can be purchased. You can purchase seedlings elsewhere. Last year, that's what I did. I tried to start some of my seeds. It was a major fail, but rather than get worked up about it, I found a really awesome local greenhouse and got so many great plants from there. They thrived, they did wonderfully. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't set your expectations too high. Maybe you do a hybrid. Maybe you start some at home and maybe you buy some out. But finding a local greenhouse is awesome. I also saw a lot of people on Facebook Marketplace and local farmers markets that start seeds as well. So that can be a more affordable way in supporting your local community. I know I will definitely be opting for that, especially like with cabbage and broccoli. I did terrible trying to start those seeds last year. So work smarter, not harder. Have the experts do it. And then the last one is the plant date. This is the date that the cedar plant can be planted outdoors generally. All right, so the next example, let's do one that's a direct sow. So corn, this is a direct sow. I don't need to start a seed, and I should probably get my plants in around that same date as the tomatoes, a couple of weeks after my first frost, once the soil has warmed up. Next, let's look at a cold crop like kale. This is a direct sow, and I can actually start that before my first frost. So lots of different options here. Maybe you are going to do a large tomato crop and you kind of want them to be successive, kind of have a rolling harvest. Type that in the notes. Say, we'll plant every 2 weeks for 6 weeks. That's something that you can do and make this kind of custom to yourself, but you have a general idea of when that first plant should go in the ground. Now, let's say I want something that's not on there. I type in bok choy. I'm not seeing it there. I will tell you this kind of library that I've made for this is pretty slim right now, and I'm looking to all of you to grow this. So you'll fill out the form, just click on the link. Okay. So the first option is to share your email address if you'd like a confirmation email once your suggestion is added. So you don't have to put this in there, but if you would like a confirmation and a response back, or if I by chance have more questions to ask, you can type this in here. We'll just do test@aol.com. And then you can submit 3 missing crops. And this is, you can submit as many of these as you like. We'll do bok choy, maybe thyme. I don't think thyme is on there. You can submit that. I'm hoping to get these turned around pretty quickly, but this is a working document, so it's interactive. As soon as I get that added, you'll be able to use it in your spreadsheet, but I'm looking forward to adding to this as you all are putting those submissions in. So fear not, if there's a crop on there, if there's a crop missing, we can certainly get it added for you. Okay, the last thing that I want to call out mentioning is maybe seeds that you have from years past and looking to your seed catalogs for inspiration. I'll link some in the description box of sites that I bought from last year, but there are so many options and varieties that you can't even imagine. Now, I need a better seed storage solution, but for now it's this little box. I have these dragon tongue beans that I'm definitely going to plant again. So I'll type green beans in here and just varieties I'm planting. I'll put dragon tongue. And let's look through some other ones. Oh, you can buy seeds from Azure. Do that in an upcoming drop. I was pretty happy with their seeds last year. Oh, I have some radishes, cucumbers, kale. I was too scared to plant any leafy greens last year. I'm not really sure why, but I definitely need to get on that this year. Onions, the big debate. I want to start some from seed, which I know I need to do soon, and also some from sets. Onions are a crop that I will eat as many, consume as many as we grow. So hoping to get a lot of those in the ground. Let's do, I see a butternut squash. All right, maybe a pumpkin. Now again, those populate just on average to be like 4 weeks after my last frost date, but I know a lot of people, the guy at the feed store, I would trust him with just about anything when it comes to feed and gardening. He says he doesn't plant them till the 4th of July, so use this as you will. Corn solstice. And I'll just type this in here, the variety I'm planting, solstice. I was so excited to plant corn last year. I had never dreamt of planting corn. The closest thing I could relate it to was Farmville on Facebook. And as that was growing, I was so excited to take pictures and send them to my friends and family and say, knee-high by the 4th of July. But corn really doesn't yield that much, right? Like 2 stalks is maybe dinner for a night. So corn is something I want to do successive planting of. Brassica, that is the name of the family of cabbage and broccoli and things like that. I want to do carrots. I had the saddest carrots last year. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. They're a cold crop, but I didn't plant them until June, and I don't think my soil is really meant for them. So I definitely want to do a couple of raised beds for root vegetables because, oh my God, you should have seen the tiny little beets and carrots I pulled out of the ground. It's not all rainbows and sunshine over here. So I think this wraps up phase 1 of garden planning for me. I got the ball rolling. I have a checklist I can use. I'm starting to think about what I want to preserve, what I want to eat fresh, what I want to plant. So I'll continue to update all of you as I'm using this tool. I so hope that you find this useful and feel like you can get in control of your garden planning, start putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. Use this, start to document it, get a plan in place, and it looks like we'll be starting seeds here in a couple of months. So I'm going to spend a couple more weeks going through this and then get a seed order in. So I guess send any recommendations that you have. I know all of you are probably the experts of this. I am only in season 2 of gardening and I'm looking forward to learning from all of you. So send me your recommendations. I'll keep you up to date on this, and next we can order some seeds together. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again next time.